Hey good people, welcome back to Beauty in the Frizz. My name is Cara. Thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. So today I am really excited because I am going to be doing a little pastel party with two pastel palettes that I have. I'm going to be doing a look with the Klarity So Mermaizing palette and the Natasha Denona pastel palette. So if you want to see two looks with these palettes and hear my thoughts about which one you should get if you were looking at them, keep on watching this video. Let me know what you think. And if makeup is your therapy and your love, if it makes you happy and you want to connect with another enthusiast that feels the same way, definitely consider joining the community because I'd love to have you back. All right, let's get started. All right, you guys, so just think of this video as a little palette rotation video. I was going to show you the So Mermaizing palette, but I think I will probably share this in the video. One of my shades came broken. It wasn't a matte, it was a shimmer, and I guess I just rebroke it. I was too rough. It's very, very soft, but very beautiful. And I know you are very familiar with the Natasha Denona pastel palette. This was a palette I originally had no intention of getting, but when I did my So Mermaizing look, I was like, maybe I do like pastels, and I wanted to give this one a shot. So without further ado, you're gonna see me do one look with each palette, and then I will be back at the end to let you know my final thoughts. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, you guys, I'm super excited to be using the Klarity So Mermaizing palette. I have heard just, you know, different things about it. I have played around with this a little bit, but I haven't done like a formal look. Now, when I did get this palette, this shade right here was a bit cracked. Let me see if I can show you without messing anything else up. So you might not even be able to see that, but I had to repress that shade. But that was it. I know some people that received mattes that were cracked, and I didn't. And I'm thankful because repressing mattes is not my forte. So let's go ahead and get into this. I'm gonna fix my primer really fast. I'm gonna start with the shade Long Time No See, which is a matte light peach. And I'm gonna take this shade and start it in the inner transition area. So we'll see how this one shows up. If you do see any glitters, they are coming from the shade that I had to repress. I wasn't able to get all of the glitter out of some of the other shades, but that's okay. So you see there, it doesn't show much on me, but I think if you have a deeper tone or like a lighter tone, it's gonna show up pretty nicely. But this is so close to my skin tone that it's not showing up super pigmented, but it is definitely there. And I think that's gonna be as pigmented as we can get this shade on my tone. Okay, let's move in to the shade You Mermaid My Day is this shade. These mattes remind me a bit of the mattes from Give Me Glow if you're looking for something to compare it to. They are pressed pigments, I believe, so they feel dry, but I am not having any issues with the blend or anything like that. But I also think that is thanks to the brushes, because when I was using my Give Me Glow shadows, I think the brushes that I was using at that time made those mattes extremely tough to blend. And, you know, coming back a year later and using my Give Me Glow palettes with upgraded brushes, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna try to merge these two shades together. It's definitely giving like some ethereal vibes, you know, very soft. I'm used to smoking everything out, and this is a challenge for me. And maybe I'll end up liking it, because I always say I don't like pastels, and I don't want to keep saying that. I just don't use them often, but it doesn't mean I don't like them. So we'll find out. Might be turning over a new leaf. Now the shade that I want to use on my lid is the shade Beach Please. It's this one. Like, look at how beautiful that is. I do know that this is a spraying shade. You got to spray this one. Now for this shade, it's going to behoove all of us involved to spray it. All right, I've got the Mayron mixing medium here, and I'm going to just use this eggshell brush. Usually I go in with a flat shader, but as you can see, this one is not completely flat, but it is dense, and this is going to be good for this shimmer. A lot of particles in this one, a lot of chunky particles, so I'm going to go ahead and spray that. And y'all know I do my face makeup first, so I'm just gently pressing this in to avoid the fallout. And this is so pretty. Lots of reflex in here. I see green, I see like a lilac purple. It's really pretty. Well, that's not lots of reflex, that's just two, but it's very pretty. I'm gonna just take this across the entire lid today. So I know if you watch Dr. Ash in her makeup, she was telling me she depotted this palette and kept the shimmers, and I can totally understand why someone would just keep these shimmers and just use, you know, mattes from another palette. Yeah, if you're not into the pressed pigment texture, I don't know if you would like these mattes at all. I don't know if it's because they're pastels. I'm not sure. Don't get me to lying, but yeah. I want you to just see without the light just how pretty this shade is. I honestly don't even know if I like having that peach shade in the front anymore. I'm just taking a clean brush and just trying to merge everything together. I think you can still see a small hint of the peach in the front of the look, which is fine, it can stay there. Now for the under eye, I'm gonna go into the other green shade called I'll Have a Martini, which is the other kind of blue-green shade. These are very, very close. So I do think maybe there could have been a bit more variety there, but let's see if it shows up any different on the lower lash line. The brush I'm using is an angled, more dense brush, and this is by BH Cosmetics. I'm just sweeping this underneath the lower lash line and bringing the top and bottom of the look together with the green. And I did manage to get a little bit of fallout, but it's very, very, very minimal. It's nothing that I even need to brush away. I think I'm into this look, and the only other thing I want to do is give us an inner corner point. This is definitely going to be sprayed. I think I want to go into Don't Be Shellfish, which is this one right here. It is a very iridescent yellow shimmer with a lot of green reflex. I can also see some pink and silver in there as well. Go ahead and tap that in, and I'm really just tapping. I can still see some of my primer here, and I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna correct that. I don't know, I'm dropping stuff. I don't know if we can do it with this peach shade, but let's try it again. Long time no see on an MSQ blending brush. And I'm just trying to get up in this corner area. What if I did this one? What if I did? Okay, let's change this up. Let's go into See Ya Later. It's See Ya like S-E-A. And let's tap that in over the peach. I think that this is showing up a lot better. Just blending it up into the blue, and hopefully that gives us a bit of a gradient. And I'm excited to do this. I mean, I think I've only done one pastel look ever, like in my makeup life. Just taking a little more of Beach Please on my finger. I'm tapping a little bit of this on the front because I did brush some of it away. All right, friends, here is the look. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this, and I'll be back with my thoughts. Okay, I'm back with the final look. And you know what? It's about to be real corny, but this is so Mermaizing. I take back everything I said about pastels. I take back everything that I said. Black mascara just really does something for these ethereal pastel type looks. I finished off this look using one of my favorite liners by ColourPop, which happens to be a pastel liner as well. This is the shade Prancer. It is a pastel blue matte, one of my favorites by ColourPop, and these liners can be so hit or miss, and some of them are really creamy and some of them are dry. Like the yellow one I had was really dry, but this one is creamy. It is so good. I love this. I hope you can see how it really helps to pull the look together, and I did use it on the top and bottom. The mascara that I used is the Melt Cosmetics Supernatural Lash. Been going strong with that. And then I just want to mention a couple face details. I actually mixed the Nars foundation with the not Natasha, Char, Beautiful Skin. And I also, for bronzer today, I didn't really put on bronzer. I used these Drunk Elephant De-Bronzy Anti-Pollution Sunshine Drops, and I just put them in the areas where I usually put on my bronzer. For blusher, I'm using the Wayne Goss Desert Blossom Blush Palette, and I did mix the blush and the highlight. So I think it just really goes with this look. And on top of that, I used my Hourglass Strobe Highlighting Palette, which I pulled out of nowhere, but I love this one. I use the rose gold shade. It's called, let's see, I think it's Absolute Strobe Light. So it's this shade here. It really gives such a beautiful ambient finish. Yes. Ooh, now lipstick is where I had a little issue, because I took my Vive liner in the shade, what time is it? Ooh. Oh God, I'm back. I took my Vive liner in this shade, and I love this, but I took the corresponding Modern Matte lipstick by her in the shade Pinch, which is Pink Peach. This lipstick does not work on me. I feel like it is so uneven and patchy, and I don't feel like that about the brown shade that I have, but like right in here, it just looks like, I don't know. It makes my lip have that instant like white here. I just can't, and I shan't. So, oh my God, y'all, this is all I have left. Luckily, I have another one of these. Pat McGrath, Nude Venus, classic, one of the best. All right, I have like 5 minutes before my students get into my classroom, so I need to get to work. That's how close I live. I love this look. I have nothing negative to say about the final look. Mattes could be a little better. Yes, ma'am. Yes, they could. But you know what? I will work with these mattes for those shimmers. And as long as you're careful with them, use the right brushes and spray. I know that's a lot. You are not gonna get a whole bunch of the fall outage on your face. I don't have to do anything. I'm just gonna go ahead to work. So, I like this, y'all. I really, really do. Okay, let's get into something else. All right, you guys, so I'm gonna be playing with the Natasha Denona Pastel Palette. I did just get this last week, and I actually filmed a look with it this morning before work, and I decided halfway through the day that I did not like the look. I'm gonna give this another go round, and we will see what we come up with. The look wasn't bad, but it just wasn't great, and I was rushing even more than I normally am. All right, so the first shade I'm gonna start off with is Airy, which is a pastel, well, the whole palette is, but it's a very light baby blue. And one thing I can tell you, you gotta do a lot of building with this. Now this brush is a BK Beauty A502 brush. We are going to make this look work. Now honestly, I feel like that's a pretty good amount of pigment actually. So I didn't use this shade in my original look this morning, but I feel like this is showing up really, really well. I'm actually surprised at how well this one's showing up. Now this one I think is just a regular powder matte. She does have some cream to powder mattes in this palette, and we will get into those. I'm just trying to blend this up a little higher. Yeah, y'all, I was like, I gotta come home and film before the boys get here. They may be here while I'm filming, but I was like, no, because I usually don't record in the evenings unless it's Thursday or Friday. Okay, as I said, I didn't like this shade. I do like it. Well, this to me has a nice amount of pigment. Let me know, am I exaggerating? Am I reaching? Please let me know. If I'm reaching, tell me. So my plan is to now deepen this shade up a bit, and I want to do that by using the shade Bubble. Now Bubble is a cream to powder matte, and I kind of had a time with it this morning. I feel like it's just not picking up on the brush at all. Now this is a Sigma all over blend brush. Okay, it's obviously not clean, but I want to see if, since it's a bit denser, will it pick up this cream to powder matte better? I think it is. So let's use this. Okay, that picked up a lot, because that shade was giving me the blues this morning. It really was. But I think this brush is really good. So let me know what type of brushes you all use for those, because this brush is really doing what I need it to do. So I'm gonna keep this brush out because we may need to come back to it. Now I'm gonna take Feather. I'm gonna take it on the same brush and I'm just gonna soften this up here. I'm not sure if you can see what it's doing there. It's just giving a little purpley type outline, making it really soft, bringing it right into my blush. So I have that up high as well. I'm using a BK Beauty A504 brush, and I just want to go over the edges of the blue, and hopefully you can see just the little gradient that's happening with the purple into the blue. And it's almost like a little brow bone highlight. And I'm just gonna blend it into the outer portion of the look as well. Now the other thing that I did, I used a lighter primer today. Today I'm using the Glam Light Icing Primer, and it's in the shade Classic Vanilla. Now this primer is not white, but it is a very, very light shade, and I am hoping that this is gonna allow these colors to pop a little bit more. All right, you guys, so I do like this so far. I would like to deepen the look up, if that's possible, with the shade Bora. And Bora is like the deepest matte that we have in the palette. I'm gonna go ahead and use this brush by BH Cosmetics. And I'm gonna go right into Bora and place that onto the outer corner. I can't tell. This one might be a cream matte as well. So let's see, I might need to switch brushes. I think we're going to switch brushes. I'm going to go back into that Sigma brush because that brush is doing it for me. If you have a brush that you use in particular, like look at that. So yes, because that other brush wasn't doing it. Yeah, if y'all have particular brushes that you use for the cream to powders, let me know. Are natural brushes better? I mean, I have natural brushes, but my thought is that these denser brushes are gonna do the trick. I'm really digging in, y'all, to the shade though, to get the pigmentation. But oh well, that's what it's for. Okay, I think this looks gorgeous, to be honest. I was not expecting this. All right, let's go into some shimmers. I would highly recommend spraying these. These are not my favorite Natasha Denona shimmers. Just from the ones I played with so far. I do really like the shade Starlit, and this is the deepest shimmer I think in the palette, so I want to go into this first. I'm going to use a Sigma lid shader brush, and I'm going to spray it with Mayron Mixing Medium. So I'm going to dip into the shade first and tap it off. I gave it a nice spray, and let's see what this looks like on the center of the lid. I think that looks great. I am taking it over the Bora shade just a little bit. Here come the boys. Destroy. I'll be back. Here's what our look is looking like thus far. I think it's looking pretty good. We have this Illusion shade, which is like supposed to be a multi-chrome. It reminds me of a weaker version of Red Giant, if you're familiar with that shade from Terra Moons. I don't know if I want to use that actually. Let's do Adriatic. Let's do that. Now that's this nice green here. So I'm taking the same lid shader brush. I'm gonna just put that in this space, this leftover space here, and blend it right on in to Starlit. I think that looks really nice. All right, now let's see if we take a little bit of that Illusion shade and place it right here in the middle. Because I know that can be like a transforming shade, but I like this because it softens up the harshness between the two colors. So for the inner corner, wait, let's go right into Mint Frost. I'm just gonna keep with the same brush, and I'm gonna spray this too, taking it on the end because this is kind of tapered. It goes up into a point. So this will be fine for the inner corner. I think that makes a really nice inner corner highlight. Now we need to go into the lower lash line. I really want to dip into the shade Zest. We are going to need something dense in order for these shades to show up with intensity, I think. And that's, I think, the trick with this palette. I can't remember how her other cream to matte shades are. Like, are they difficult to pick up with certain brushes? So y'all really do, I really do want y'all to let me know. And then we'll deepen it up with some of the colors that we used on the top, and hopefully that will bring it all together. So for the rest of the lower lash line, I think I want to go back into Bubble, which was this cream matte shade here, and maybe try to mimic using Bubble and then maybe the Bora Bora. So I'm just kind of overlapping Zest with Bubble, and then I'll go into Bora Bora. So I'm winging this out, but you're not gonna really see that because I'm gonna go over it with the purple. Now let's go into Bora Bora, our purple, right on top of it. And hopefully we can still see both colors. I'm more so focusing on the outer corner. And you'll have to let me know, because since I didn't do a dedicated video with this one, do you want to see more looks with the pastel palette? This is definitely, pastel looks in general are very challenging for me as of right now, which is probably why like I just didn't like the look this morning, because I'm just not used to using these types of shades. But I feel like I'm finding a way to make them work for me with this palette. All right, you guys, so this is going to be the second look. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up, and then I'll be back to let you know what I think about working with this palette. Y'all, here's the final look. All right, so let me tell you what I did to kind of enhance this look. The first thing that I did was I took a cream gel liner by Lethal Cosmetics. I just used this for the first time with the Night Flower palette. This is the shade Fidelity, and it's a matte purple. And I took an angled brush and I lined the top of my lids and like right underneath the lashes. And I still wanted the shadow that I placed under there to show. So I think I was able to accomplish that. And in the waterline, I took this pencil by NYX. This is the shade Intense Teal. And I just placed that in the waterline, so you can see it there. For my mascara, I'm using the Makeup Revolution 5D Lash Pow Mascara. I am really proud of this look, y'all. I really am. If I haven't already, I will pop a picture up of the look I did this morning, and it's so dull and so muted. And even though it's a pastel look, I feel like this is way more vibrant than what I was able to achieve this morning. Let me tell you what else is on my face. So today I mixed my Auric Glow Lust in the shade Sunstone with the Lisa Eldridge foundation. I took the LYS concealer, and then I used my Pat McGrath blur powder in the shade Yellow. My bronzer is the Gucci bronzer in the shade 3, and my blush is by Chanel. It's Coral Etoile, and that's the one that had that star on it, the vibrant one. I do not have on a highlighter today. On my lips, I have the Pat McGrath Divine Lip Shine in the shade Divine Rose 2. And that is what I've got on. Now I'm really glad that I messed up on that first look, because I don't know if I would have come back to the palette to give it another chance, because I just was like, ugh, this is like really lackluster. I feel like these pastels look vibrant now, but I think it was all in the brushes, and I think it was all in wetting the shimmers. If I had to choose which look I like better, I think I would go with this look over the Klarity look. And actually the reason why I would go with this look has nothing to do with the shadows itself. It just has to do with how I chose to enhance the look. And I think that if I had used, oh my gosh, because I have a green gel liner I could have used with the Clarity look. That would have looked amazing with it. But I think having the contrast of the pastel with the deep liners, I really feel like makes this look me, because just pastel without the hint of some type of grunginess, it's like ethereal grunge, right? That's just not my style. I especially love how this blue and purple blended together so nicely without either color losing anything. Zest is a bit disappointing. I think that maybe if I had tapped it in versus like swiping it in, maybe it would have shown up a little more pigmented than the way it did. But all in all, I'm really enjoying learning how to work with pastels. And even though I like both looks, the last look that I did and the look this morning really prepared me to create this look, which I think is the best one I've done thus far. So enough talking. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. In case you're wondering what's on my eyes right now, this is the Follow Your Dreams palette by Saint Angel Centers. I am working on 4 looks with this palette. It is a collab with Smink Baronade. I don't think that's how you say it, but yeah, we'll have to talk about that. But let's talk about my final thoughts about both of these pastel palettes. I think that these palettes both have pros and cons. So with the So Mermaizing palette, the shimmers are definitely the pros. Now within that, if you like really blingy, sparkly shimmers, shimmers that have larger particles, shimmers that have multiple reflex, duochromes, you're gonna get a lot of that in the Clarity palette. You're gonna get the shiftiness that you can see just from afar. You're gonna get all of that. When it comes to the mattes, there aren't as many options, and then 2 of the mattes, those 2 greens are very, very similar on the eye, so you're not gonna get a range of mattes. So the strengths are the shimmers. I think the weaknesses are the mattes. The Natasha Denona palette, you've got a larger variety of mattes. I really, really like that about the palette. The mattes, you're gonna have to work with them in a certain way. You're gonna need a denser brush, you're gonna build them up, and especially if you're going to use those cream to powder mattes, you really need a denser brush to be able to pick up those cream mattes and make them work for you and look as pigmented as they did in the pan, as they do in the pan. That's the one thing I will say. And I think if I didn't mess up on that second look, I probably just would have ripped this palette, because I just was a bit frustrated with why I couldn't get the shades to work. There is a duochrome shade here. It's the shade Illusion, but this is a pretty weak duochrome compared to the ones that we see in the Clarity palette. Now, what I will say about the shimmers in the pastel palette by Natasha Denona is that if you don't like shimmers with big particles and duochromes and super shifty shades where you're gonna have to really think about what they're gonna look like on your eye, you know, worrying about fallout, things like that, then you're gonna like the shimmers in the pastel palette a lot more, I think. There is just something to be said about like those very smooth shimmers. I like those. I can be in the mood for both. It just depends. So looking at these palettes, it would be hard for me to pick one that I'd rather have, because I would like the Natasha Denona mattes, maybe with the Clarity shimmers, but that look with the pastel palette, that was so good. So if I had to choose a palette, it would honestly be the Natasha Denona pastel palette. And I think the reason is I can make different looks, whereas the Clarity palette, I don't feel like there's as much variety there, and I have to work with it more. But yeah, I don't think there's gonna be the variety, because when I'm looking at these mattes, you know, one of the mattes is yellow, one of the mattes is, I'm just gonna pop pictures up. One of the mattes is yellow, one of the mattes is like orange. Those 2 colors are not gonna really show up that great on me. I think the pink one would be fine. And then you have those 2 greens, which are so close. But with the Natasha Denona palette, you've got a pink matte that I know is gonna show up. I didn't use Bellini, so I didn't try that. This is almost the same color as in the Clarity palette. but Feather showed up. You've got Airy, which showed up great, which was that baby blue. Bubble showed up great. I just think the looks can go in a lot more direction. So I would most likely reach for this more. I think that's the one I would choose. And I really did like how the shimmers looked on the eye. But again, both of these palettes, I would say all in all, if you want a palette that's gonna do the work for you, I would choose neither. These palettes are gonna take work, whether you're dealing with the fallout from the Klarity and the glitter glue, or you're dealing with having to use certain brushes and build up the mattes for the Natasha Denona palette. And that might just be the case for pastel eyeshadows. I don't know, you let me know. Thank you guys so much for taking out some of your time and hanging out with me today for this little pastel party. I hope this was therapy for you because it always is for me. So until I see you again, make sure you are being gentle with yourself. Talk to yourself nice, stay safe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye. Block your